I died, choking on my own blood, in the trunk of my stepfather's Cadillac. The engines rumbled, drowning out my screams as he drove us off that godforsaken bridge into the icy Potomac. My mother watched from the passenger seat, her manicured nails digging into the armrest, whispering, "It's for the best, baby," like she was putting down a rabid dog instead of her own daughter. And just like that, the world went black until it didn't, and I woke up gasping in my old twin bed, the faded posters of Nirvana and The Clash staring down at me like ghosts from a life I thought I'd buried. It was 2018 again. September 15th, to be exact. The alarm clock on my nightstand blinked 7:03 a.m. In that obnoxious red digital glow, the same one I'd smashed with a baseball bat in my first life after one too many hangovers. My heart hammered like a jackrabbit on meth, and I bolted upright, sheets tangled around my legs like restraints. The room smelled of stale vanilla air freshener and regret. My room, in the split-level Colonial in Bethesda, Maryland, that my parents called our humble investment, but treated like a goddamn fortress against the world. I was 22, fresh out of community college with a half-assed associates in graphic design that nobody gave a shit about, crashing in the basement apartment they'd grudgingly let me rent for $800 a month, half my waitressing tips, which they pocketed anyway under the guise of room and board. In my first go-round, I'd swallowed it all. The insults, the backhanded swipes about being a disappointment, and a freeloader leeching off real adults.
But now
I knew the truth. The lies they'd spun like cotton candy around a rusty core of greed and rot. My real father, dear old bio dad, had died in a trucking accident when I was 8. Or so the story went. Left us a tidy little life insurance payout, $750,000. Which Mom blew through on her third husband's car dealership and a string of business ventures that were really just Ponzi schemes dressed in khakis. Stepdad, Harlan, was the king of that hill, a slick-talking salesman with a comb-over that screamed midlife crisis and eyes that lingered too long on anything with a pulse. They'd told me the money was gone, eaten up by debts, but I'd found the papers in my second life. Hidden in the safe behind the boiler, offshore accounts, fake charities, the works. They'd killed for less. And in the end, they killed for me, or rather, for the silence I carried. The secret? I'd stumbled onto it 6 months before they offed me. Harlan's dealership wasn't just shady, it was a front for laundering cash from some East Coast mob ties, drugs funneled through luxury imports. The kind of shit that made FBI wet dreams. I'd overheard him on a call, bragging about a big score involving a senator's kid, and when I confronted Mom, she laughed it off as daddy's jokes. But I dug deeper, hacked into his email with a password as dumb as his golf handicap, Harlan Rules 69. And boom, evidence that could bury them both. Photos of payoffs. Ledgers disguised as inventory sheets. I was about to go to the cops when they caught wind. A family intervention turned into spiked wine at dinner, zip ties in the garage, and that midnight drive to the bridge. Freeloaders don't get to play hero, Harlan had sneered as he slammed the trunk. But God, or whatever sadistic force runs this cosmic casino, hit rewind. And this time, I wasn't playing nice. I stumbled to the mirror, half expecting the bruises from the beating to stare back. But no, smooth skin, the faint scar from my tonsillectomy at 16, and those hazel eyes that used to crinkle with 4 smiles. Eva Marie Harlan, née Whitaker. The name alone made my stomach twist. I splashed water on my face, the cold shock grounding me. Upstairs, I could hear the coffee maker gurgling like a dying man, Mom humming some off-key pop tune from her Zumba class. Routine. Normalcy. The kind of bullshit that hid bodies in basements. Breakfast was the usual minefield. I shuffled into the kitchen in my ratty UGGs and an oversized hoodie, relics from a thrift store phase that Harlan called hipster hobo chic. Mom was at the island, scrolling TikTok on her iPad. Her Botox-frozen face lit up like she'd won the lottery. 52 going on 35, if you ignored the chain-smoking lines around her mouth. Morning. Sunshine, she cooed without looking up. You sleep through your alarm again? Harlan's gonna flip if you're late for that bar shift. Harlan grunted from behind the sports section of the Washington Post, his reading glasses perched on the end of his nose like a vulture's beak. Kids got no discipline. Living here rent-free. It's not free, I snapped, the words out before I could cage them. In my first life, I'd mumbled apologies, poured his coffee black with 2 sugars. Now, fuck that. I pay you every dime. And you know it. He lowered the paper slowly, those beady eyes narrowing. Watch your tone, Eva. We're doing you a favor, letting you mooch off our hard work. Mooch. The word landed like a slap. But I just poured myself a bowl of off-brand Cheerios, the milk sloshing like bile. Mom shot me a warning glance, the one that said, "Don't rock the boat, sweetie," but I met it with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Phase 1. Intel. I needed to map the minefield. Confirm the timeline. The first payoff was due in 3 weeks, a wire transfer from some shell company in Delaware. If I could intercept that, plant seeds of doubt. Work that day at the Dubliner was a blur of pint pulls and leering frat boys from Georgetown. But my mind was a steel trap. Tips clinked into my apron, $1.47. Not bad for a Thursday, and I slipped out early, claiming a migraine. Back home, while they were at Harlan's networking dinner, code for strip club schmoozing, I jimmied the safe. The combo was still August 16th, 69, Mom's birthday and his favorite number. Because irony's a bitch. Inside, the ledgers, crisp as new money, and a USB drive labeled Taxes 18. Jackpot. I plugged it into my ancient Dell laptop, the fan whirring like it was on its last legs. Files popped up, spreadsheets of consulting fees, emails to a guy named Vinny in Philly about delivering the package. My hands shook as I copied it all to a thumb drive, then wiped the history clean. Backup plan, cloud storage under a fake name, Eva Shadow 87. No more loose ends. That night, Harlan came home reeking of bourbon and cheap perfume, cornering me in the laundry room. Heard you mouthing off this morning. What's eating you, girl? Puberty round 2. I folded a towel with deliberate slowness, channeling the calm I'd faked for years. Just tired of the Freeloaders speech. Dad. We both know who's really carrying this family. His laugh was a bark, hand clamping my shoulder hard enough to bruise. You, with your doodle degrees and dead-end jobs, stick to slinging beers. Eva. Leave the big boy stuff to me. I waited until his snores rattled the vents before slipping out to the backyard, the September chill biting through my jeans. The old oak tree loomed, the one I'd carved my initials into as a kid, YMW, before Harlan's name swallowed mine whole. Under its roots, I buried the thumb drive in a Ziploc, marked with a Sharpie X. Ground zero for the war. The next week was chess, not checkers. I started small, anonymous tips to the dealership suppliers, whispers of delayed payments that made Harlan sweat during his morning calls. What the hell's going on with these invoices? He'd bellow into his Bluetooth, pacing the kitchen like a caged hyena. Mom would flutter around with herbal tea. Stress ages you. Hun. But her eyes darted to me more often, suspicion brewing like bad coffee. I played the part, the sullen daughter. Headphones in, sketching logos for indie bands that'd never pay. But at night, I'd prowl the dark web on my phone, Tor browser, VPN cranked, researching money trails, whistleblower protections, even hitmen just to know the going rate. Spoiler: cheaper than you'd think. Controversy simmered under my skin. Was I any better than them? Stealing glances at the family photos on the fridge, me at prom, all awkward smiles and borrowed dresses. I wondered if revenge was just another poison. Then came the first crack. October 2nd, a rainy Tuesday. I accidentally left my laptop open in the den, the screensaver cycling through stock images of DC landmarks. But the background? A screenshot of Harlan's email, blurred just enough to tease. He spotted it when I was in the shower, steam fogging the bathroom mirror as I rehearsed my denials. By the time I emerged, towel-wrapped and dripping, he was in my room, the laptop in his meaty fist. What the fuck is this?
Eva?
Veins bulged in his neck, face purple as overripe plums. I feigned shock, clutching the towel like a shield. Dad, it's just research for school project. Finance class or something. Bullshit. He hurled the laptop onto the bed, screen cracking like thunder. You been snooping? Think you're clever.
Huh?
Little girl playing detective. Mom hovered in the doorway, silk robe cinched tight,
Her voice a whine.
Harlan. Honey. Let's not, Eva. What have you done? I let tears well up. Oscar-worthy. If I do say, and whispered, I found the accounts. The real ones. Dad's not who you think.
Mom.
The silence stretched, taut as a garrote. Harlan's fist twitched, but he reined it in. Cameras in the neighborhood. After all. You don't know shit, he hissed. Keep your mouth shut, or you'll regret it. Regret. The word hung like smoke. In my first life, that's when the beating started. The gaslighting that chipped away until I doubted my own shadow. This time, I met his gaze, ice to his fire. Try me. He stormed out, tires screeching into the night. Mom lingered, hand on my arm, nails like talons. He's under pressure.
Sweetie.
The business.
It's complicated.
For us. For your future. My future? I laughed, bitter as black coffee. You mean the one where you cash me out like Dad's policy? Her slap stung, quick and sharp, the ring on her finger drawing a thin line of blood on my cheek. Ungrateful bitch. After everything we've sacrificed. Sacrificed.
Yeah. Right.
But as she flounced away, I tasted victory. The seed was planted. Doubt in her eyes. The first fracture in their perfect facade. The days blurred into a pressure cooker. Harlan tripled the locks on his office, but I was a ghost in my own house, slipping notes under doors, forwarding emails from burner accounts to his golf buddies, hints of irregularities that made invitations dry up. The dealership's lot emptied, customers ghosting like bad dates. Freeloaders, he'd mutter over dinner, stabbing his steak like it was my heart. Whole world's full of taking what ain't theirs. I'd nod, fork scraping porcelain, while inside, plans coalesced. The wire transfer loomed, October 22nd. $250,000 from Vinny's crew. I needed leverage. Entered Jake, my ex from community college, the stoner hacker with a moral compass looser than his cargo shorts. In my first life, we'd hooked up post-breakup. A regret-fueled pity fuck. Now, I texted him from a blocked number. Remember that favor you owe? Meet me at the old quarry. Bring your kit. He showed. All man bun and Red Bull breath. Eyes widening at the cash I slapped on his dash, $500 from tips. Every cent earned. Eva? Holy shit. You look intense. Shut up and code, I said, sliding him the USB. Trace this IP. Spoof or alert to the feds. Make it look like Harlan's panicking, trying to cover tracks. He whistled low. This is deep web shit.
Girl.
Mob level. You sure? Surer than sin. By dawn, the trap was set, a fake breach notification pinging Harlan's inbox. FBI's cyber unit, account compromised. Respond immediately. I watched from the shadows as he opened it at 6 a.m., face draining of color. Linda, he bellowed, waking the house. Someone's in the system. Mom rushed down in her nightgown, me trailing like the dutiful daughter. What do you mean? In the system?
Hacked.
Fucking hacked. He paced, sweat beading on his forehead. Gotta call Vinny. Tell him to hold the wire.
No.
You don't. I thought. Sipping my tea. Vinny was already spooked. I'd seeded rumors on dark forums. Whispers of a rat in the ranks. Harlan's phone buzzed. Unknown caller. He answered, voice pitching high. Vin?
Yeah.
It's me. Listen. There's a glitch, no. I swear. It's handled. Gimme 24 hours. He hung up, slamming the phone so hard the screen spiderwebbed. Eyes on me. Accusatory. You got something to do with this.
Eva? Huh.
Me? I blinked. Innocent as a lamb. I'm just the freeloader. Remember? Mom's hand flew to her throat. Harlan. Stop. She's family. Family, he spat. That's the problem. That night, the controversy ignited. Harlan, drunk and desperate, cornered Mom in the kitchen while I slept. Walls are thin in these McMansions. I heard every word. The girl's a liability.
Lynn.
Always has been. We should have shipped her off years ago. Like we planned. Planned. Her voice cracked. You mean after the insurance?
God.
Harlan. I thought that was a joke. Joke? That payout could have set us up for life.
But no.
You had to play mommy. Now look, she's digging. And if she talks. Silence. Then a sob. We can't. She's my blood. Your blood's the reason we're drowning. Think about it. I press my ear to the door. Heart a war drum. The betrayal cut fresh, but expected. In my first life, that's when they decided, the accident. This time, I'd flip the script. The high-stakes poker began. I started documenting voice memos on my phone, hidden cams from Amazon disguised as security upgrades for the house. Harlan's paranoia ramped up. He installed keyloggers on the family Wi-Fi. But I was steps ahead, routing through Jake's proxy. The dealership hemorrhaged clients, a viral Yelp review I'd ghost posted about shady deals and stolen identities, went nuclear, racking up 200 shares overnight. Mom confronted me over lunch, Cobb salad at the country club, her treat to clear the air. The place reeked of old money and fresh divorce. Silverware clinking like accusations.
Eva.
Honey. What's going on with your father?
He's
Unraveling. I speared a cherry tomato, juice bursting like a lie. Maybe it's karma.
Mom.
For all the ventures that weren't so venturesome. Her fork paused midair. What do you know about that? Enough. I leaned in, voice low. The Cayman accounts. The donations to Aunt Rita's charity that never existed. Dad's not the only one with secrets.
Is he?
She paled, lipstick stark against ashen lips.
You don't understand.
Your real father, he left debts. Big ones. Harlan fixed it. Fixed it. Laughter bubbled up. Sharp as glass. By killing him? Is that the big secret? Mom, the accident that patted your nest egg? Her eyes darted to the other tables, power couples and pastels. Oblivious. Keep your voice down. It wasn't God.
Ava.
You were a kid. We protected you. Protected? I hissed. You murdered my father for chump change and called it love. And now you're doing it again. She slapped cash on the table, rising like a storm cloud. You're delusional. Stay out of it, or you'll force my hand.
Force your hand.
The gauntlet thrown. Back home, Harlan was packing duffels of cash from the safe, muttering about laying low in Atlantic City. Mom tailed him, pleading in whispers. I waited until they slept, then struck, emailed the ledgers to a journalist at the Post. Anonymous tip line blazing. Corrupt dealer laundering mob cash, proof attached. By morning, headline screamed, Bethesda auto empire crumbles amid fraud probe. Harlan's phone exploded. Vinny's crew first. Threats laced with Jersey gravel. You got a leak. Fat man? Fix it or swim with the fishes. Then the feds. Knocking at noon. Badges flashing like Judgment Day. He barricaded in the garage. Shotgun from his hunting trips racked and ready.
Eva.
Get your ass down here. I descended the stairs slow. Deliberate. The basement door creaking like a coffin lid. Mom was there too. Tears streaking her foundation. Hands wringing a dish towel bloody. What have you done? The truth, I said, voice steady as granite. You called me a freeloader?
Fine.
But this house? Your power? It's built on lies. My father's blood. And now, mine almost. Harlan leveled the gun, barrel cold and black. You think you're smart? Snitching to the cops? I'll end this right now, self-defense. Crazy daughter on a rampage. Mom gasped. Harlan. No. The room spun. Echoes of my first death crashing in, trunk.
Bridge.
Darkness. But this was different. I stepped forward, not back. Eyes locked on his. Pull it. But know this, the files are out.
Cloud.
Dead man's switch. Every contact in your rotten Rolodex. You're done. Harlan. Both of you. His finger whitened on the trigger. Sweat dripping like confessions. Mom lunged, grabbing his arm. Stop. She's bluffing. She has to be. Is she? A car door slammed outside, sirens wailing distant.
Closing in.
Neighbors peeking from curtains. Phones out. The controversy I'd craved, family imploding in prime time. Harlan's resolve cracked. Gun lowering inch by inch. You little. Fuck you. I whispered. The word's a bomb. Freeloaders don't win. Secrets do. The feds burst in minutes later. Cuffs clicking like applause. Harlan spat curses. Mom wailed innocence. But the evidence piled like snowdrifts, my seeds blooming into an avalanche. As they dragged him away, he twisted, screaming, "This ain't over. Eva, blood's thicker. Blood washes off," I called back, the door slamming shut on my past. In the aftermath, the house echoed empty, ghosts fleeing the light. Mom lawyered up. Plea deal for accessory, 5 years. Minimum. I sold the Colonial for a cool $650K. The market hot as hellfire. And vanished to Seattle. New name. New life. Jake got a cut. Enough for his own startup, ethical hacking. Irony's gift.
But the twist?
In the safe's dregs, a letter from Biodad. Yellowed and forgotten. Eva, if anything happens to me, know I loved you fierce. The money's yours. Trust set up at First National. Key in the oak. $1 million. Untouched. They'd never known. Power wasn't in the house. Or the lies. It was in me. All along, the girl who rose from the trunk. Unbreakable. I stood on the ferry to Bainbridge. Wind whipping my hair. The sound glittering like absolution. No more freeloaders. Just Eva.
Free.
The ferry's horn blasted. A mournful wail that cut through the salt spray. But it couldn't drown the echo of Harlan's final scream from the courtroom. Eva, you traitorous cunt. The judge's gavel had cracked like a gunshot. But I just stared ahead. Chin high. The weight of a dozen depositions lifting off my shoulders like fog burning off the bay. It was February 2019 now, 5 months since the raid. 3 since Mom's tearful allocution where she blamed a toxic marriage for her complicity. Toxic. Cute word for premeditated murder. I testified in January. Voice steady under the fluorescent buzz of the federal courthouse in D.C. The air thick with stale coffee and desperation. Yes, Your Honor. I discovered the ledgers on September 20th, 2018. They detailed laundering over $2.3 million through the dealership from 2015 to 2018. The prosecutor, a shark named Ruiz with a buzz cut and a Boston accent, had nodded, feeding me lines like chum. Harlan's lawyer, some ambulance chaser from Virginia, tried to paint me as the villain, a resentful stepdaughter with a history of substance abuse, but the talk screen I demanded proved clean as a whistle. No more freeloader jabs. Now I was the whistleblower, the hero in a suit that cost me 2 weeks' tips. After the verdict, 25 to life for Harlan on racketeering and conspiracy to commit murder. Mom's lighter sentence a slap on the wrist. I'd walked out into a blizzard of flashes from the Post and CNN vans circling like vultures. MS. Whitaker, how does it feel to expose your own family? A reporter yelled. Mike thrust like a sword. I paused on the courthouse steps, snowflakes melting on my lashes, and said, Family? They killed mine. This is justice. Soundbite gold. By evening, my face was on every feed. The story trending freeloader revenge, ironic, twisted, pure American drama. But freedom tasted like ash. Back in the Airbnb I'd crashed in Adams Morgan, a shoebox with a hot plate and a view of nothing, I uncorked a bottle of cheap Cabernet. The kind Mom used to hoard in the pantry. 1 glass turned to 3. And suddenly the walls closed in. The what-ifs clawing back. What if I'd confronted them sooner in the first life? What if Dad's letter had surfaced before the bridge? And Jake, God.
Jake.
He'd ghosted after the payout. Radio silent until a LinkedIn ping last week. Congrats on the win. Beers sometime. I deleted it. No loose threads. The real power play came a week later. In the lawyer's office on K Street, all mahogany and moral ambiguity. Elias Grant, Dad's old estate attorney, a silver fox with a penchant for bow ties, slid the trust documents across the desk. Your father was meticulous. Eva. The key in the oak? It unlocked a safety deposit box at First National. Contents: the deed to a cabin in the Shenandoah, stocks and blue chips, and $1.2 million in bonds. Accrued interest since '09. I traced the signature. Richard Whittaker. In that looping script I remembered from birthday cards. He knew they'd come after it. Elias nodded, eyes grave. He suspected Harlan's influence on Linda. Left instructions, if anything untoward happened. It bypassed her entirely. You're the sole beneficiary. Untoward. Understatement of the century. I signed the transfers, the pen heavy as fate, and by March, I was liquid, enough to vanish. But not before one last controversy. The media hounds wouldn't quit. Producers from Dateline pitched a special, Daughter's Deadly Discovery, promising 6 figures. My gut screamed no, relive it on national TV, but the activist in me, the one forged in the trunk's darkness, whispered yes. Expose the system, how mob money greased small-town wheels, how families like mine rotted from the inside. I took the deal. Filmed in April under the cherry blossoms, petals falling like confetti on a grave. Sitting across from the host in a mock living room set, too clean, too staged, I spilled it all, the gaslighting, the accidental death of Dad, the bridge. They called me a freeloader, I said, voice cracking just right. But I was holding their secrets. And secrets? They're the real currency. The episode aired in June. Ratings through the roof. Sparking Senate hearings on auto fraud. Harlan's crew scattered like roaches. Vinny flipped for immunity, testifying in a polyester suit that hung off his frame like regret. Mom wrote from Alderson, pleading letters I burned unread. Forgive me, baby. It was all for you. Bullshit. For her. By summer, I was gone, Seattle. As planned, a studio in Capitol Hill with exposed brick and a balcony overlooking the Sound. New name, Eva Reed. Freelance illustrator for tech startups. The kind of gig that paid in crypto and quiet. I inked tattoos on weekends, custom designs, ravens rising from ashes, and dated a barista named Theo. All flannel and easy laughs. Normalcy. Or the closest I'd get. But power corrupts, they say. And mine simmered low. Late nights, I'd scroll the dark web, monitoring Harlan's appeals, denied. Every one, and Mom's commissary purchases, lipstick, even in lockdown. Controversy brewed when a true crime podcast dug too deep, unearthing Dad's accident as vehicular homicide. Was it really an accident? The host drawled in episode 47. Or did Linda Whittaker accelerate into destiny? The twist hit like a gut punch. A DNA test, ordered by some genealogy nut, proved Harlan wasn't just stepdad. He was bio. From an affair Mom had before Dad's death. The timelines overlapped. I'd been conceived in betrayal, not love. Letters from Mom's drawer. Post-raid. Harlan, she's yours. Keep her close. Close enough to kill. I confronted the mirror that night, whiskey burning my throat. Whose eyes stared back? Whittaker's fire. Or Harlan's ice, the cabin in Shenandoah called a weekend getaway. Solitude amid the hollers. I drove east. The BMW I'd bought purring like a predator. Windows down to let the wind scour my sins. The place was a time capsule, knotty pine walls. A stone fireplace stocked with Dad's journals. Yellowed pages chronicled the unraveling, Harlan's business proposals, Mom's distance, suspicions of foul play. Eva's the light. One entry read, "Protect her from the shadows." Tears blurred the ink. I hadn't cried since the bridge. That night, fire crackling, I burned the letters, Mom's. Harlan's appeals photocopies, watching flames devour the past. But as embers died, headlights pierced the dark, a black SUV, crunching gravel like bones. Panic surged, old instincts firing. I grabbed the poker from the stand, heart slamming. Door rattled, locked. Thank God. Then a voice. Muffled. Eva? It's Ruiz. From the trial. The prosecutor? At midnight? I cracked the door. Chain taut. He stood alone. Topcoat dusted with Mountain Dew. Badge glinting. Heard you were here. Can we talk? Inside. The coffee steaming. He laid it out. Harlan's cellmate. A lifer named Rocco. Had sung for a deal. Your step, Harlan, he confessed. Not just the laundering. The bridge. Said it was Mom's idea, but he pulled the trigger.
And Eva.
He mentioned a backup plan. Insurance on you. $500,000 policy. Beneficiary him. Chills slithered down my spine. Why tell me now? Ruiz sipped, eyes weary. Because Rocco's got a sister. Says Harlan put a hit out from inside. On you. And her. To tie loose ends. Low-level crew. But real. Watch your back. The drive back was paranoia personified. Every taillight a threat. Every shadow a shank. Seattle felt exposed. I upped security. Theo none the wiser. Rough trip, he'd ask, kneading my shoulders. I'd smile, murmur about deadlines. But sleep came in fits. Dreams of trunks and bridges morphing into cell blocks. The hit came subtle. Slashed tires outside my studio. A brick through the window with a note. Freeloaders pay. Police shrugged. Vandalism. Yes. Read. But I knew. Jake resurfaced. Frantic team. Eva. They're asking around. Philly boys. I can ghost you digital. But. Do it. I typed. Fingers flying. New identity brewing. Vancouver. Artist in exile. But controversy called one last time. Mom's appeal hearing. Leaked to me via Ruiz. She claimed abuse. Harlan the monster. Me the enabler. My daughter profited from our pain, her affidavit read. Profited. The gall. I flew back incognito. Mullet wig and oversized shades. Slipping into the gallery like smoke. She looked smaller in orange. Hair limp. Eyes scanning for me. When they locked, hers widened, shock. Then plea. The judge denied. But as bailiffs let her out, she mouthed, "Why?" In the hall. Anonymous. I approached her lawyer. Tell her, because power isn't given. It's taken. Back west. The sound mocked my restlessness, waves crashing like unresolved chords. Theo proposed over dim sum. Ring from a pawn shop. Earnest as dawn. Build something real.
Eva. I said yes.
But the ring felt like a shackle. Real? My life's script was revenge porn, not rom-com. The final twist unraveled in November. Rain lashing the city like judgment. Rocco's sister, Maria, showed at my door, olive skin, tattooed knuckles, a Glock bulge under her jacket. Harlan's dead, she said flatly. No preamble. Shanked in the yard. said to tell you. The house was always yours.
Dead.
The word hung.
Hollow.
Why you? She shrugged, lighting a smoke on my balcony. He owed me. For the hit he ordered on my kid brother. Wrong place. Wrong time.
But you.
You finished what I couldn't. Truce.
Truce.
We shared the rail. City lights blurring below. What now? I asked. Live, she said, exhaling smoke like wisdom. Power's a bitch. Let's go. Or it eats you. Theo and I married in a courthouse. Eloped simple, vows exchanged over bad coffee. His flannel against my leather. No family. No ghosts. The cabin sold. Proceeds to a fund for auto fraud victims. Dad's light. Amplified. Years on. Eva Reed illustrates children's books, tales of girls who rewrite endings. The bridge fades. A scar, not a chain. They screamed freeloaders once. But in their house of cards, I held the aces. Power? It's quiet now. In the laugh lines around Theo's eyes. The patter of rain on our roof. But if shadows stir, well, some lessons die hard. The rain in Seattle doesn't just fall, it hammers. A relentless percussion that mirrors the migraine pulsing behind my eyes as I stare at the pregnancy test on the bathroom counter. 2 pink lines. Stark as accusations, positive. Theo's out surfing in the gray dawn. Oblivious. His board shorts slung over the chair like a flag of normalcy.
Me?
I'm 30 now. 5 years into this second act. And the past claws back like kudzu. Choking the life I thought I'd grafted onto fresh soil. It's 2023. The world a dumpster fire of AI deepfakes and election denial. But my fire's personal. Maria's truce held, no hits. No shadows, but Harlan's ghost lingers in nightmares. His comb-over flopping as he whispers. Freeloaders spawn. Mom's out on parole next year. Good behavior in a system that chews women like her and spits pips. I've ignored the letters. The collect calls to Theo's line that he screens with polite. Wrong number. But this? A baby. Blood of my blood. Tangled in the same veins that carried Whitaker grit and Harlan rot. I flush the evidence, not the test, but the urge to bolt and brew coffee strong enough to strip paint. Theo bursts in at 8, salt-crusted and grinning, scooping me into a bear hug that smells of Puget and promise. Babe, waves were epic. You okay? Look like you wrestled a kraken. I force a laugh, burying my face in his damp curls. Just the usual brain fog. Artist's curse. He buys it, humming as he showers. And I slip out for a walk, the waterfront trail. Joggers dodging puddles. Ferries moaning across the bay.
Power.
I'd learned, isn't in the taking, it's in the holding. The delicate balance of not letting it slip or crush you. But balance feels mythical now, with a plus sign burning in my pocket. The decision brews slow, controversial as all my crossroads. Abortion? Logistics whisper yes. I'm building a graphic novel empire. Commissions stacking like cordwood. No room for midnight feedings.
Keep it?
Theo's eyes light up at the mention later that night. Over takeout pad thai in our loft. A mini-us?
Ava.
That's.
Yeah.
We got this.
We.
The word's a lifeline, but doubt festers. What if the kid inherits Harlan's cunning? Mom's frailty? What if I turn into them, gaslighting a toddler over spilled Cheerios? The podcasters still circle. True crime TikToks dissecting freeloader revenge like autopsy slides. Eva Whitaker, Victim or vigilante? One viral clip asks. My Dateline clip looped beside Harlan's mugshot. I dive into work to drown it, sketching panels of a heroine who time loops through betrayals, red penning her own fate. The irony's thicker than Seattle fog. Jake resurfaces via email. Heard the news.
Congrats?
Need a digital nanny for the wee one. He's legit now. Cybersecurity firm in Austin. Married to a coder. I reply neutral. But his PS chills. Mom's appeal got a boost. New evidence claims you planted the files. Watch the mail. New evidence. The feds had cleared me years ago. But parole boards love a redemption arc. I call Ruiz. Retired now to Florida Gulf. His voice gravel over cell static. Eva? Been a minute. Yeah. I heard. Bullshit. All of it her lawyer's fishing. But if she walks. Stay frosty. Frosty.
Right.
I install cams. Up the VPN. But sleep evades. The loft's creaks sounding like footsteps. Theo notices. His hand on my belly, barely showing, a gentle anchor. Talk to me.
Love.
This about the family stuff. Always, I admit. The dam cracking. I spill the lineage bomb. Harlan's sperm donor status. The affair's stain. He listens. No judgment. Just a squeeze. Doesn't change you. Or us. Kids, a blank slate. Blank slate. If only. The controversy peaks in spring. When mom's hearing leaks to the press. Imprisoned mom seeks freedom. Alleges daughter's frame job. Protests outside the prison. Pickets with signs. Free Linda, justice for mothers. Hashtags explode. Moms deserve better. My old face photoshopped as a villainess. I ignore it. Focusing on ultrasounds, a grainy blob. Heartbeat fluttering like Morse code. Live. But the mail Ruiz warned of arrives. A manila envelope. No return. Postmarked DC.
Inside.
A photo. Me at 16. Awkward braces and dad's old Metallica tee. Scrawled across. Blood tells. End it. Or I will.
Threat. From inside?
Parolee's privileges. Maybe a guard on the take. Theo wants cops. I wave it off. Prank, but bolt the doors. The power I'd claimed feeling fragile as rice paper. The high-stakes dance resumes. I hire a PI. Ex-cop named Lena, with a smoker's rasp and a nose for bullshit. $50 an hour. Plus expenses. What's the play? Dig on mom's circle. Who's feeding her narratives? Lena nods. Vanishing into the ether. Weeks tick by. Belly swelling. Sketches piling up. Theo builds a crib from reclaimed wood. Whistling off-key. His optimism a bomb. Lena calls in May. Voice triumphant. Got your ghost. Inmate named Carla. Mom Selly.
Grudge against the system.
She's the scribe. But the brains? Your old golf buddy. Harlan's. Paid her to stir shit. Hoping to spook you into recanting for parole leverage. Leverage. Classic Harlan. Puppeteering from the grave. Proof. Recordings. Wire she wore. Carla flipped for a deal. Send hitmen?
Nah.
Just mind games.
But Eva.
He left a will. Everything to you. The house. The power, take it.
Bitch.
Filed last week.
Will.
The twist uncoils. Serpentine. Harlan. In his final days. Shivved but scheming. Deeding the remnants. Dealership liquidated. But assets frozen till closure.
To me.
The ultimate fuck you. Inherit the empire. Wear the crown of thorns. I laugh. Bitter. Rubbing my bump. Burn it. Lena chuckles. Already drafting the petition. Donate to victims' funds. Yes. Power released. Not hoarded. Mom's parole denied. Carla's tape seal it. Headlines flipping. Twisted legacy. Killer's widow's plot foiled. She writes one last time. I was wrong. Be free. Eva. For the baby. I read it. Folded into the crib's drawer. Not forgiveness. But closure. Labor hits in July. A monsoon of contractions under hospital fluorescence. Theo paces. Lena texts well wishes. Maria sends booties from Jersey. Tiny trucekeeper. The push. The cry a girl. Hazel eyes like mine. Fists balled like she's ready to fight. We name her Riley Whittaker Reed. Reclaiming the lost. Theo cradles her. Tears tracking his stubble. She's perfect.
She is.
In the recovery haze. I scroll news. Harlan's estate dissolved. Funds rerouted to anti-fraud NGOs. Mom transferred to Max. No appeals. The podcasters pivot. Eva's triumph from revenge to redemption. Redemption. Close enough. Nights blur into feeds and fevers. Riley's gurgles a new rhythm. Controversy fades. I'm just mom now. Inked hands rocking a swaddle. Theo's coffee steaming beside. But power? It hums low. In Riley's grip on my finger, fierce. Unyielding. The house is gone. But the true hold? It's here. In the quiet wars won. One evening, as autumn paints the sound gold, Riley fusses. And I hum the tune Mom once did off-key. But mine now. No freeloaders. Just family. Forged in fire. Riley's first word isn't mama. It's no, barked at 6 months over a puree of peas she deems unfit for royalty. Theo and I dissolve into hysterics on the kitchen floor. The loft alive with her tiny tyranny. And in that moment, the bridge feels like ancient history. A footnote in a life rewritten line by line. It's 2025 now. The world tilting toward whatever fresh hell AI and climate roulette cook up. But ours is steady, a rhythm of daycare drop-offs. Gallery openings for my graphic novels, the Time Loop series hit bestseller lists, Irony's bestseller, and Theo's microbrewery gigs. His IPAs named after our inside jokes. Power, I've learned, isn't a throne or a trigger. It's the choice to build instead of burn. The estate dust settled last year. Harlan scraps funneled into scholarships for at-risk kids. Whittaker girls, especially. Mom's letter stopped after the transfer to Supermax. Rumors say she's teaching yoga to inmates. Finding inner peace in a 6x8. Good for her. Forgiveness? Not my department. Forgetting? Close enough. But echoes persist. Subtle as Seattle's perpetual drizzle. Riley's hazel eyes catch the light sometimes. Flickering with a cunning that twists my gut. Harlan's ghost? Or just toddler mischief? I shake it off. Channeling into Storytime. Readings from my books. Where heroines outsmart dragons with wit, not swords. And the girl said, your secrets are chains, but mine? Wings. I murmur. Her chubby hand on the page. The controversy resurfaces in waves. Unbidden. A Netflix doc drops in spring. Echoes of Betrayal, the Whittaker-Harlan saga, narrated by some earnest Brit. My Dateline clips remixed with dramatic swells. It streams viral, sparking DMs from strangers. You're my hero, from a whistleblower in Ohio, monster enabler from a troll in Texas. Theo fields the noise. his barman's charm deflecting. Eva's off limits. Family time. Family. The words evolved. Maria visits twice yearly. Her niece a fascination. Trading Jersey tough love for Seattle softness. Kid's got your fire, she says over craft beers. Riley gnawing a teething ring. Don't let it scorch her. Scorch.
Apt.
The hit's shadow lingers in therapy sessions, weekly Zooms with a shrink named Dr. Patel, who probes gently. How does the power feel now?
Eva?
Held. Or heavy. Both, I admit. Riley's blocks clattering in the background. Like carrying a loaded gun to a picnic. She nods. Then teach her to disarm it.
Disarm.
The lesson brews. We take Riley to the Shenandoah cabin, bought back with truss scraps. A sanctuary, not a cage. The oak still stands, roots cradling secrets long unearthed. I show her the carving, YMW, her tiny fingers tracing grooves. Mama's tree, she babbles. And I swallow the lump, Theo snapping Polaroids. But the high-stakes undercurrent stirs in August. A call from Ruiz, semi-retired, but nosy.
Eva?
Loose end. Vinny's out, early release. Good conduct. Word on the street, he's got a grudge. Thinks you ratted his whole crew.
Grudge.
The old chill. Feds watching. Loose tail. But heads up, he's in Baltimore. Low profile. Auto shop. Funny enough. Funny. I thank him. Hang up. And fortify. P.I. Lena on retainer. Cams upgraded. A concealed carry permit Theo doesn't know about. Glock 19. Cold comfort in my nightstand.
Nights.
I pace the balcony. Sound whispering conspiracies. Riley's monitor glowing like a sentinel. Theo senses the shift. His hand finding mine in the dark. Talk.
Babe.
The doc again.
Worse.
Old ghosts. I spill Vinny's shadow. Expecting freak out. Instead, he nods. Practical. We move. Or fight. Fight, I say. The word's solid. Power's choice. Remember? The confrontation builds slow. A storm front. Vinny's shop hits Yelp. Vinny's vintage rides. Reviews gushing about restorations. I drive east incognito. Rental Chevy blending into I-95 traffic. Lena's intel burning in my glove box. Address. Routines. A daughter in college he dotes on. Baltimore's a humid haze. Row houses sagging like tired boxers. The shop squats on a side street. Bays open to oil-slicked concrete. Classic Mustangs mid-revamp. Vinny's there. Paunchier than memory. Wiping grease on a rag. Laugh booming at a customer's joke. Mid-50s. Salt and pepper. The kind of guy who'd buy you a beer then break your kneecaps. I park across. Hood up. Watching. No move, reconnaissance. But fate's a prankster. As I idle. He glances over. Eyes narrowing. Recognition flickers. Then hardens. He waves a mechanic off. Saunters across. Rag dangling like a white flag. Eva fucking Whitaker. Or read now. Come to gloat. I kill the engine. Step out slow. Pulse steady.
Vinny.
Heard you were out. Thought I'd say hi. His laugh's a bark. Hi? You buried my life.
Girl. 10 years gone.
For what? Daddy issues. For justice. The word tastes metallic. You laundered death. My father's. Mine. Almost. He leans on the hood. close enough for cologne and contempt. Harlan was the snake. I was the plumber fix leaks. You, the flood.
Flood. Potent.
Then why the grudge? I'm not chasing you. Lena called. Said you were sniffing. He spits. Tobacco flecking the asphalt. Want closure?
Fine.
Harlan owed me. The hit? His dying wish, not on you. On his rep. Burn the docks. Smear you as the liar. But you won. Kids got your eyes? Shift, personal. Stay away from my family, or his grin's wolfish. I'm clean now. Eva. Church Sundays. PDA, Dad.
But push.
Wells run deep. Threat veiled. Classic mob poetry. I meet his gaze. Harlan's ice in my veins. Push back. Vinny. I got Ruiz on speed dial. And a book deal that'd make your daughter blush. Truce. He weighs it. Rag twisting.
Truce.
For the kid. But remember, power's borrowed. Pay it forward. Or it collects. He ambles back. Bays clinging. And I drive north. Exhale ragged. No cops. No climax, just words. The quiet victory of walking away. Back home. Theo greets with tacos and a query. Rough road trip. Closed a loop. I kiss him. Riley tugging my jeans. Mama, the podcasters chase one last tale. A finale episode. Where is Eva now? Speculation runs wild. Cult. Witness protection. Suicide hoax. I leak a sketch to my publisher. Riley as a cartoon sprite. Wings unfurled. Anonymous gift to the narrative. Let them wonder. Winter solstice. We host Maria and Lena. Fire pit crackling on the balcony. Stars pricking the marine layer. Riley toddles between legs, demanding no to bedtime. Toasts raised, to-go's banished. Power shared. Theo pulls me aside later. Ring glinting, our second. Renewal vows whispered last spring. Proud of you.
Eva.
The fighter who chose peace.
Peace.
Elusive, but tangible, in Riley snores. The sound's lullaby. The house of my youth crumbles in memory. Freeloaders scream silenced. I held the power. Yes, but released it. And in the letting go, found the truest hold. As snow dusts the Olympics, I sketch by lamplight, a girl on a bridge, not falling, but flying. Wings of secrets, finally free. And in the quiet, I whisper to the page, we won.